When most people die, they leave behind memories. But a special few leave behind a weapon, not a gun. A last will so perfectly petty, it's like a psychological smart bomb detonating from beyond the grave. We're talking jars of teeth, mandatory garden gnomes, and legally binding sauerkraut curses. This isn't a list of heirlooms, it's a countdown of 101 of the most creative ways to have the last laugh, forever. 1. So, your uncle passes. You're hoping for a Rolex, maybe some stocks. You get a box. Inside, a rock. An official 1970s pet rock with its original manual. You haven't inherited wealth. You've inherited a geological freeloader and a booklet on how to house-train an inanimate object. 2. A woman in Ohio pops open her grandma's prized antique button collection. Surprise! It's not buttons. It's a jar of human teeth. Hundreds of them. No note, no explanation. Suddenly, Grandma's stories about her poker nights with local dentists take on a whole new horrifying meaning. 3. What's worse than inheriting debt? How about a legally binding, lifetime supply of sauerkraut? Every month, a truck dumps pallets of it at a man's house in Pennsylvania. His property now has the permanent aroma of a failed German festival. It's not an inheritance, it's a pungent, unending curse. 4. When his estranged father died, a guy in Texas inherited just one thing: a single, left-footed cowboy boot filled with sand from Florida. It's not a sentimental gift. It's not a clue. It's just a passive-aggressive piece of trash sent from beyond the grave. The ultimate final screw you. 5. Ever dream of owning your own town? A woman from Oregon did. She inherited an entire ghost town in Nevada. Population, her. She's the mayor, sheriff, and sole taxpayer of 2 collapsed shacks and a dry well. She has absolute power over absolutely nothing, and a lot of tumbleweeds. 6. Sometimes family secrets don't die, they just get wings. A family in Florida inherited their great-aunt's parrot Rico, a parrot who spent years listening to her complain. He doesn't want a cracker. He wants to announce to everyone that Uncle Dave faked his back injury in '92. It's a deposition with feathers. 7. He inherited a priceless Superman comic, rumored to be cursed. But not with demons. With cripplingly minor inconveniences, permanently untied shoelaces, always picking the slowest checkout line. It's the kind of curse that won't kill you, just make you really, really want to die. 8. A man inherited a safe deposit box from his notoriously cheap uncle. He drilled it open to find winning lottery tickets worth millions. The catch? Every single one had expired years ago. It's the most financially devastating gotcha in the history of last wills and testaments. A masterclass in trolling. 9. Forget the family farm in North Carolina. The real inheritance was hiding in the barn. A fully functional, illegal moonshine still that's been in the family for 3 generations. He didn't just inherit property, he inherited a criminal enterprise and a very thirsty neighborhood. No pressure. 10. He inherited every user manual for every appliance his father ever owned, from a 1978 blender to a 2004 VCR. The will demanded they be kept in pristine condition. He inherited a library of obsolete troubleshooting and long-expired warranties. 11. Imagine being told you inherited your grandmother's life savings. You open the chest with trembling hands. Inside, not cash. Thousands of used hotel soap bars. You've inherited a 60-year collection of other people's hygiene and a bathroom that now smells like 1,000 cheap honeymoons. 12. Some dads leave you a watch. Others leave you a 9,000-pound ball of rubber bands sitting in a custom shed. A woman in Kansas inherited this certified monument to boredom. Her father's legacy isn't wealth or wisdom. It's a massive, pointless sphere of questionable life choices. 13. Your inheritance can come with strings attached. Sometimes those strings lead to a creepy ventriloquist dummy you have to seat at the holiday dinner table. That's the reality for one guy who now has to ask his wife if Chester, the wooden man with dead eyes, wants more turkey. 14. Forget inheriting assets. A guy in Vermont inherited a liability, his father's legendary 50-year-long bar tab. The will called it his sacred family duty to pay it off. He's not rich. He's just the new guy who owes the whole town for beers his dad drank before he was born. 15. Your new career, courtesy of your dead aunt? Professional worm farmer. A niece in Oregon inherited a house, but only if she managed the 500-pound worm farm in the basement. She's now the CEO of a slimy enterprise whose only product is high-quality dirt. 16. 10 giant boxes show up at your door. Inside? Every sugar packet your great-uncle ever stole from a diner. This isn't an inheritance. It's a diabetic's nightmare and a fire hazard made of paper and pure disappointment. Thousands of tiny stolen sweeteners are your legacy. 17. You can inherit a house, a car, or Albert Einstein's gallstones. A pathologist's family was gifted the actual stones from the genius's autopsy. They own a piece of history, specifically the gross, painful, useless part. It's the nerdiest, most disgusting heirloom imaginable. 18. The dream, inheriting grandpa's classic car. The reality, the horn is permanently stuck playing La Cucaracha at full volume. A teenager now drives this mobile humiliation machine, announcing his arrival everywhere like a deeply dysfunctional taco truck. Driving is now a punishment. 19. What's the worst business to inherit in the 21st century? Ask the woman who got her father's payphone repair company in Wisconsin. She owns 12 non-working phones and a client list of 0. Her inheritance is a business so obsolete, it makes her feel obsolete by association. 20. The will promised him a piece of the American dream. What he got was a single, beautifully framed share of Blockbuster stock. It's not an asset. It's a decorative reminder that all things must die, especially your hope of getting any real money from this inheritance. 21. Some people inherit art. Others inherit what looks like a crime scene, reenacted by taxidermy squirrels. One man's house is now a museum of rodents playing poker, riding tiny motorcycles, and staging the moon landing. It's a furry, dusty, and deeply unsettling display of talent. 22. Family heirlooms are meant to be valuable. This one is a 50-year-old fruitcake nicknamed the Brick. It's been passed down through generations in a Maine family, and the will demands its journey continue. It's a geological artifact that smells vaguely of rum and despair. 23. The family's greatest treasure was promised on thousands of dusty floppy disks. Is it the secret to cold fusion or 40,000 saved games of Minesweeper? A tech bro in Silicon Valley will never know because finding a drive to read them is harder than finding the treasure itself. 24. Think child support is bad? Try gnome support. A man inherited legal guardianship of his neighbor's prize-winning garden gnome. He gets a monthly stipend for its upkeep and must send a lawyer postcards from the gnome's vacations in his own backyard. This is his life now. 25. 10 acres of land sounds amazing, until you realize it's 10 acres of completely inaccessible Louisiana swamp. The new owners have a water is your floor view. Their land is prime real estate for alligators and mosquitoes, but not for anything with a bank account. 26. Her inheritance wasn't money or property. It was a formal written IOU from her dead great-aunt for a single, heartfelt apology. It's the most passive-aggressive and utterly worthless asset ever put in a legal document. She literally inherited a grudge. 27. His inheritance was a revenge fund, a savings account with $5,000 in it, but the will stipulated it could only be spent on minor, petty, and annoying acts of revenge against his father's old boss. He inherited a budget for childish vengeance. 28. She thought she was getting grandma's vintage beauty collection. She got dozens of neatly labeled jars containing all of grandma's shed hair and nail clippings since 1978. It's not a beauty secret from the past. It's a biological archive that should have been a crime scene. 29. Forget a trust fund. His inheritance was a job title. Family jester. The will legally requires him to perform a short comedy routine at all family gatherings. He didn't get $1 million. He got a mandatory, unpaid stand-up career for an audience that already hates him. 30. Inheriting a cat seems normal. Until you learn its legal name is Sir Reginald Fluffybutt III, and it only responds to the full title. Try shouting that across your yard at 2 a.m. It's not a pet. It's a daily, government-mandated exercise in public humiliation. 31. Imagine your father passes, and the inheritance is his grudge. A son inherited a legally binding contract forcing him to continue his dad's 30-year property line dispute with the neighbor. He now spends his weekends arguing over 3 inches of dirt he never cared about. It's a legacy of pure spite. 32. Some people get a family recipe. A woman in New Mexico got her aunt's collection of over 2,000 unique airline barf bags. Unused, thankfully. Her tiny apartment is now a museum dedicated to the global history of potential in-flight nausea. It's a conversation starter that quickly ends conversations. 33. A single bronzed TV dinner tray from 1988. That was the entire inheritance for one man, mounted on a plaque that just read, "The night it happened." He has no idea what happened, but he's pretty sure it involved questionable Salisbury steak and a lifetime of confusion. 34. What's the opposite of a windfall? Inheriting your uncle's prized rock collection, where every single rock is just a piece of gravel he found in a Kmart parking lot. Each one is labeled with a date and time. It's not geology. It's a documented history of being bored in a parking lot. 35. Think you're free from your parents' rules after they're gone? One will stipulated that the daughter would only inherit the house if she continued to call her mother's voicemail every Sunday and leave a message. She inherited a home, but also a weekly, one-sided conversation with the dead. 36. A man inherited his grandfather's most prized invention, the toast butterer. A machine designed to butter toast before you toast it. It never worked. It just set bread on fire. He inherited not a patent, but a flawlessly designed single-purpose arson machine. 37. The will promised my entire fortune. A young woman opened the box to find thousands of get-out-of-jail-free cards from Monopoly sets. Her great-aunt was a kleptomaniac who only stole the single most useless piece of paper from every board game she ever encountered. 38. His inheritance was the key to a storage unit. Inside? Life-sized cardboard cutouts of himself, one for every year of his life, made by his alarmingly obsessive mother. He now owns a creepy, silent audience of his past selves, from awkward teen to confused adult. It's deeply unsettling. 39. You can't put a price on love, but you can put a price on a restraining order. A woman inherited a prepaid 5-year restraining order against her cousin Barry. The will provided no context. She just has a legal document preventing a man she barely knows from coming near her. 40. What's worse than an unfinished project? A finished one. He inherited a fully functional 5-foot-tall catapult in his backyard. The will gave no explanation for its existence, only a single instruction: aim for Kevin's house. 41. Imagine being the lawyer who had to write this will. A woman inherited a feeling of profound disappointment, which her father had legally defined and notarized. The document officially bequeaths her the emotion itself. She got nothing, but at least it was a lawyer-approved nothing. 42. He inherited a perfectly preserved, unopened can of New Coke from 1985. The will claimed it would be worth millions one day. It's currently worth about $12 on eBay. It's not a retirement plan. It's a fizzy brown monument to terrible business decisions. 43. Her inheritance was a box of her grandmother's old diaries. The twist? They were all written in a complex code that no one in the family can decipher. It's either generations of priceless wisdom or 40 years of complaining about the price of eggs. The mystery is the real torture. 44. Some families pass down rings. This family passes down the chair. A hideously uncomfortable armchair that, by law of the will, must be given the best spot in the living room. It's an heirloom whose only purpose is to ruin the decor and posture of every generation it's forced upon. 45. His father left him a map to buried treasure. After weeks of decoding, he found the X in his own backyard. He dug for hours. What he found was a septic tank. The map wasn't for treasure. It was a very elaborate final dad joke from beyond the grave. 46. A woman in Florida inherited the naming rights to her neighbor's ugly, yappy dog. She can't own it. She can't touch it. but once a year, she has the legal authority to change its name to something deeply humiliating. Last year, it was Captain Poops a Lot. 47. Why leave your kids money when you can leave them your enemy's list? A father left his son a detailed ledger of every person who had ever wronged him, with instructions to avenge my honor. He didn't inherit an estate, he inherited a list of petty, decades-old vendettas. 48. His inheritance was a single, pristine VHS copy of the movie Giggly. The will instructed him to watch this and understand my pain. It wasn't a gift, it was a shared trauma. An attempt to make someone else suffer as he once did. 49. She inherited a box full of her grandfather's old teeth, each one individually set into a custom-made chess piece. The king had a gold crown. The pawns were all incisors. It's a full chess set made of biological waste. No one will ever play chess with her again. 50. Forget stocks and bonds. A man inherited the official, notarized title of Best Damn Chili Maker in Franklin County, which his dad had held since 1993. The title came with no prize money, just the immense pressure to never, ever screw up the family chili recipe. 51. The will promised my most valuable possession. A woman in Chicago inherited her mother's meticulously maintained Tupperware collection. Each piece had its original lid. It wasn't a joke. To her mom, a world where every container has its matching top was the ultimate form of wealth. 52. Some people inherit a burden. One guy inherited a promise. His uncle's will forced him to take a road trip to Nebraska to personally apologize to a woman named Brenda for the incident at the 1994 State Fair. He has no idea what the incident was, but he has to go. 53. You can inherit land. You can inherit a house. Or you can inherit, like one unfortunate soul in Arizona, a single, non-transferable lifetime pass to a water park that closed down in 2003. It's not an asset. It's just a laminated reminder of fun that no longer exists. 54. Imagine inheriting the family name and the family ghost. A clause in one will stated that the house came with its permanent non-paying tenant Bartholomew, a ghost who apparently dislikes loud music and enjoys hiding car keys. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1-poltergeist home. 55. His grandfather's legacy? A box containing every single spork he had ever acquired. Hundreds of them. From fast food joints and school cafeterias. It wasn't a collection, it was an arsenal of the world's most inefficient eating utensil. A monument to indecisive cutlery. 56. A woman's inheritance was a small, ornate key. The will cryptically said, it unlocks the family's greatest secret. After years of searching, she discovered it unlocked a tiny empty box. The secret was that there was no secret. The ultimate psych-out from beyond the grave. 57. What's worse than inheriting debt? Inheriting your father's fantasy football team. The will legally obligated the son to manage the Springfield Scorpions for life. He now spends his Sundays stressing about a fake team his dead father drafted a decade ago. It's a perpetual, nerdy hell. 58. She inherited her great-aunt's art collection. It turned out to be dozens of portraits of celebrities, meticulously crafted out of dryer lint. She is now the proud and deeply confused curator of a gallery, where Tom Hanks's face is made of old socks and underwear fluff. 59. One man inherited a videotape labeled My Big Moment. He played it, expecting a wedding or a graduation. It was just 90 minutes of his dad successfully parallel parking a very large van on the first try in 1997, filmed by his mom. That was it. That was his peak. 60. Think smaller. Way smaller. A son inherited a single square inch of land in rural Scotland, which technically makes him a lord. He owns a patch of dirt the size of a postage stamp, 5,000 miles away. He has a title, but he can't even stand on his own property. 61. Her inheritance was a time capsule, to be opened on her 21st birthday. Inside? A single petrified McDonald's French fry from the year she was born, and a note that said, "See? Some things last forever." It wasn't sentimental, it was just old, salty, and weird. 62. A man from Ohio inherited his uncle's entire collection of For Dummies books. Windows 95 for Dummies, Astrology for Dummies, Divorce for Dummies. It was a complete library of every problem his uncle ever had. It's not an inheritance, it's a very sad biography. 63. The will left him the sound of silence. Confused, he found out his father had paid the electric company to cut power to his neighbor's notoriously loud, inflatable holiday decorations for the next 20 years. He inherited 2 decades of blissful, petty, prepaid peace. 64. She inherited a jar of her grandmother's canned wishes. Every New Year's, Grandma would write a wish on a piece of paper, seal it in a jar, and never open it. The will forbids her from opening them. She just owns a collection of unfulfilled and possibly very weird dreams. 65. His valuable antique turned out to be the world's first ever singing bass fish toy, Big Mouth Billy Bass. The prototype. It doesn't sing a full song, it just blurts out a single distorted electronic note before shorting out. It's a piece of history nobody wanted to begin with. 66. Some people get the family silver. He got the family curse. The will stated that from that day forward, he would be the one responsible for getting spiders out of the house for everyone else in the family. It was a legally notarized delegation of the worst possible chore. 67. Her grandmother left her a box of love letters. They weren't from Grandpa. They were dozens of angry complaint letters she had written to various companies over 50 years, demanding refunds for everything from leaky pens to disappointing canned peas. It's a legacy of rage. 68. What's better than 1 cow? A man in Texas inherited half a cow. Not the meat. He co-owns a living, breathing cow with a complete stranger who inherited the other half. They have to share vet bills and visitation rights. It's the dumbest divorce settlement ever. 69. She inherited a stunning antique grandfather clock. It's beautiful, but it has one flaw. It doesn't chime on the hour. It screams. A loud, blood-curdling digital scream. It's a timepiece and a horror movie jump scare, all in one elegant package. 70. His entire inheritance was a single, framed, and very angry letter to the editor his great-grandfather wrote in 1923, complaining about the price of suspenders. That was the family heirloom. A 100-year-old rant about men's fashion accessories. 71. Forget cash. A woman in Oregon inherited her aunt's entire collection of free-with-purchase tote bags. Hundreds of them. From public radio fundraisers, grocery store openings, and dental conventions. Her inheritance is an army of flimsy canvas bags that all smell faintly of mothballs. 72. The will was simple. To my son, I leave my greatest accomplishment. He expected a trophy or a plaque. He got a small box containing every Employee of the Month photo his dad ever won at the local hardware store. 27 years of slightly different, awkward smiles. 73. How petty can a will get? One family inherited a single, high-powered spotlight, legally required to be aimed at the neighbor's house every night. The will was a continuation of a decades-long war over a noisy dog. They didn't inherit wealth. They inherited a job as professional annoyers. 74. You inherit a box labeled the secret ingredient. Inside, a lifetime supply of MSG. It turns out Grandma's legendary love-filled cookies weren't made with love. They were made with a controversial flavor enhancer. The family's secret wasn't charming, it was just chemistry. 75. A man inherited a perfectly preserved DeLorean. The dream, right? Wrong. The will forbids him from ever driving it over 87 miles per hour. His grandpa left him the coolest car in history, but with a legally binding clause preventing him from ever doing the one cool thing it's famous for. 76. Some things should stay buried. Like the contents of a will that left a woman a detailed enemies map of her small town, marking the houses of everyone who had ever slighted her great-aunt. It's not an inheritance. It's a hand-drawn guide to 100 forgotten grudges. 77. His inheritance was the family nose, not the genetic trait. A box containing plaster casts of every family member's nose going back 4 generations. It's a creepy 3D timeline of his ancestors' sinuses. A bizarre, fragile, and utterly useless collection of nasal history. 78. Think bigger than a pet rock. A woman from Nevada inherited a single, massive, 40-ton boulder that her eccentric father had placed in his front yard. The will stipulated it could not be moved. She owns a house with a permanent, immovable, and completely pointless geological feature. 79. The lawyer read the will. To my nephew, I leave the remote to my television. The nephew was confused. The lawyer clarified, just the remote. He inherited a useless piece of plastic, a final, confusing joke from an uncle who probably died laughing while writing it. 80. What's the most specific curse you can inherit? The will stated that from now on, he was legally responsible for untangling the family's Christmas lights every year. It was a notarized sentence to a lifetime of the world's most frustrating holiday task. 81. She inherited a hope chest. Inside wasn't fine linen, but every single losing lottery ticket her grandfather ever bought. Thousands of them. It wasn't a chest of hopes for the future. It was a paper-filled monument to a lifetime of terrible odds and shattered dreams. 82. Forget a guard dog. A man inherited a guard goose named Hannibal, an incredibly aggressive bird that, according to the will, had to be maintained on the property to protect the family honor. It doesn't protect anything. It just attacks the mailman and hisses at squirrels. 83. Her priceless art was a velvet painting of a wolf howling at a cheeseburger. The artist was her uncle. He truly believed it was his masterpiece. She now has to hang a work of art that is both majestic and profoundly, deeply stupid in her living room. 84. A man inherited his father's life's work. It was a handwritten 2,000-page manuscript for a sci-fi novel where the main hero is a sentient crime-fighting lawnmower. He didn't inherit a legacy. He inherited a deeply unpublishable and worrying glimpse into his dad's mind. 85. Her inheritance was the secret family recipe for Aunt Carol's surprise casserole. The surprise? The ingredients were lime jello, hot dogs, and canned shrimp. She didn't inherit a tradition. She inherited a culinary war crime that she is now expected to serve. 86. He didn't get money. He got a title. The will officially named him the keeper of the family's secret recipe for toast. The recipe had one step: put bread in toaster. He inherited a title for a skill that requires no skill. 87. Some families have a coat of arms. This one has a coat of alarms, a jacket with dozens of tiny, piercingly loud personal safety alarms sewn into it. The will instructed the heir to wear it for protection. It's not protection. It's a guarantee you'll never sneak up on anyone, ever. 88. A woman from Kentucky inherited a single-used, deep-fried pickle from the 2005 State Fair, perfectly preserved in a jar of formaldehyde. Her father called it a memory of a perfect day. She calls it the most disgusting thing she has ever owned. 89. The will was precise. He inherited every left shoe I have ever owned. A closet full of hundreds of individual, non-matching left shoes. It's not half a collection. It's a full collection of uselessness. A podiatrist's nightmare and a confusing, final message. 90. She inherited a talking fish, not a big-mouthed Billy Bass. A real parrot which her sailor grandfather had painstakingly taught to only say blub. That's it. She owns a bird with the vocabulary of a fish. It's the dumbest, most brilliant prank from beyond the grave. 91. A man in Pennsylvania inherited a single bronze chicken nugget, mounted on a marble base. The attached note from his late father read, "A reminder that perfection can be found in the strangest of places." He didn't get wealth. He got a deep-fried piece of philosophical poultry. 92. What do you do when your inheritance is a lawsuit? Not a settlement, an active one. A son inherited his father's ongoing legal battle against the concept of gravity, which he filed after slipping on some ice in 2007. It's a legacy of being spectacularly and litigiously wrong. 93. Her family fortune turned out to be a library of TV guides. Thousands of them. All from the exact same week in November 1993. The will claimed it was the greatest week in television history. It's not an inheritance. It's a shrine to a very specific, very weird opinion. 94. Your grandfather leaves you his most powerful tool. You expect a drill, maybe a saw. You get a single silver whistle. The will explains its purpose, to be blown once a year towards the sky to scare away the moon. It's not an heirloom, it's a formal diagnosis. 95. He inherited a small box containing all of his own baby teeth. That's creepy enough. But his mother had taken it a step further. She'd had them professionally drilled and strung together to create a set of wind chimes. His legacy is the faint, horrifying clacking of his own childhood. 96. The will was a single sentence. It bequeathed to the son a lifetime of guilt. Attached was a fully itemized, highlighted receipt for the total cost of his college education. It's not an inheritance, it's the final, brutal invoice from the grave. A masterclass in passive aggression. 97. She inherited an antique rotary phone, not connected to anything. The will claimed it receives calls from the future. The only problem? They're always wrong numbers for someone named Glargan. It's a perfect, useless loop of cosmic disappointment. 98. His uncle's entire estate? Every free AOL trial CD he had ever received in the mail since 1995. Thousands of them stacked in their original tins. He inherited a physical monument to the dial-up era and a lifetime supply of obsolete, useless coasters. 99. A man inherited a single, expired coupon for a free hug, issued by his late, famously unaffectionate grandfather. The coupon was officially void. It was the most emotionally devastating and perfectly on-brand inheritance possible. 100. A man inherited a thick, leather-bound binder titled The Plan. Inside was not a business proposal, but a meticulously detailed step-by-step guide on how to successfully fake his own death and escape to Belize. His father didn't leave him money. He left him an exit strategy. 101. And for the ultimate weird inheritance, a man inherited a World's Best Dad coffee mug. The will had it legally notarized, officially transferring the title of World's Best Dad to him, along with the mug. He inherited a lifetime of impossible pressure in cheap, ceramic form. 101 testaments to the fact that the only thing more powerful than love is a really, really good grudge. But forget receiving. Let's talk about giving. You have to write a will with the sole purpose of creating maximum chaos and inconvenience for your family without leaving them anything of actual value. What one bizarre item or ridiculous duty do you bequeath? What is your masterpiece of posthumous pettiness? Unleash your evil genius in the comments. And while you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons. You know what to do.